Rule number 74. The supine is used in the accusative case after verbs of motion to show purpose. Latin has several different types of verbal nouns. There's the infinitive, covered in Rules 66 through 70, the gerund, Rule 73, and also the supine, which we will see in this rule, number 74, and the next one. The supine itself is a fourth declension verbal construct that is almost unique to Latin. It doesn't have a tense, and we only see its use in the accusative and ablative, well, maybe ablative, cases. This rule will focus on the supine ending in the accusative case form, and the next rule, number 75, will discuss the supine in u. Many dictionaries list the accusative supine as the fourth principal part of a verb when it ends in an And this, by the way, is likely the best form of the fourth principal part. Sometimes you see the past participle here, ending in us, but the supine is more common than the past participle. When a verb does have a past participle, the accusative supine is identical in form, just ending in rather than us. And regardless of the case, we translate the supine in English with to, followed by the meaning. This accusative supine is used exclusively after verbs of motion, showing the purpose of that movement. So to paraphrase Virgil, Aeneas et Dido parant ire venatum. Aeneas and Dido prepare to go to hunt, or to go hunting. Our supine is venatum, and our verb of motion is ire. This supine can take a direct object, a dative, a note clause, anything that a verb can take. So we see in Caesar, Aedui legatos ad Caesarem mittunt rogatum auxilium. The Aedui send ambassadors to Caesar to ask for help. Our supine is rogatum, the verb of motion is mittunt, and auxilium is our accusative object of the supine. And this example is from Book 1 of Caesar's Gallic War, and in Book 5, he also uses rogatum followed by an indirect command. Interpretem suum ad eum mittit rogatum ut sibi militibusque parcat. And that would be the legate Sabinus, sends his interpreter to him, and that would be the Gallic chieftain Ambiorix, to ask him to spare himself and his soldiers. This ut clause is dependent on the supine rogatum, expressing purpose after mittit. And one more example from Livy. Venerunt questum injurias. They came to complain about unjust treatment, or injuries. Here, our verb of motion is venerunt, and the supine questum shows the purpose of their coming. The motion in the main verb doesn't need to be explicit, it can just be hinted at, and thus the phrase nuptum dare, to give in marriage, or literally to give to marry. Nuptum here is a supine, and we also see this phrase with collocare instead of dare, with the same meaning. This accusative supine is pretty common with the verb eoire, meaning to go, as we saw in our first example with Aeneas and Dido preparing to go to hunt. And here's another example. Imus sessum, we are going to sit, literally, or more figuratively, we will be seated. And so this use gives rise to the future passive infinitive, the accusative supine plus iri, the present passive infinitive of eo. Scimus eum trucidatum iri. We know that he is going to be killed. It's practically impossible to translate this literally. So we are going to end rule number 74. The supine is used in the accusative case after verbs of motion to show purpose.